Chapter 19, verse 1. And the cities of Sodom had 4 judges to 4 cities, and these were their names: Sarach in the city of Sodom, Sharkad in Gomorrah, Zabnak in Admah, and Menon in Zeboim. Verse 2. And Eliezer Abraham's servant applied to them different names, and he converted Sarach to Shakra, Sharkad to Shakrara, Zebnak to Kezobim, and Menon to Matzladin. Verse 3. And by desire of their 4 judges, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the cities. And if a man came to these places, they laid hold of him and brought him to one of their beds, and by force made him to lie in them. Verse 4. And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed. And if the man was less than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end. And when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. Verse 5. And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end, until the man had reached the gates of death. Verse 6. And if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, Thus shall it be done to a man that cometh into our land. Verse 7. And when men heard all these things that the people of the cities of Sodom did, they refrained from coming there. Verse 8. And when a poor man came to their land, they would give him silver and gold, and cause a proclamation in the whole city, not to give him a morsel of bread to eat. And if the stranger should remain there some days, and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a morsel of bread, then at his death all the people of the city would come and take their silver and gold which they had given to him. Verse 9. And those that could recognize the silver or gold which they had given him took it back, and at his death they also stripped him of his garments, and they would fight about them, and he that prevailed over his neighbor took them. Verse 10. They would after that carry him and bury him under some of the shrubs in the deserts. So they did all the days to any one that came to them, and died in their land. Verse 11. And in the course of time Sarah sent Eliezer to Sodom, to see Lot and inquire after his welfare. Verse 12. And Eliezer went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with a stranger. And the man of Sodom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. Verse 13. And this poor man cried to Eliezer and supplicated his favor on account of what the man of Sodom had done to him. Verse 14. And he said to him, Why dost thou act thus to the poor man who came to thy land? Verse 15. And the man of Sodom answered Eliezer, saying, Is this man thy brother? Or have the people of Sodom made thee a judge this day, that thou speakest about this man? Verse 16. And Eliezer strove with the man of Sodom on account of the poor man. And when Eliezer approached to recover the poor man's clothes from the man of Sodom, he hastened, and with a stone smote Eliezer in the forehead. Verse 17. And the blood flowed copiously from Eliezer's forehead. And when the man saw the blood, he caught hold of Eliezer, saying, Give me my hire for having rid thee of this bad blood that was in thy forehead, for such is the custom and the law in our land. Verse 18. And Eliezer said to him, Thou hast wounded me, and requirest me to pay thee thy hire. And Eliezer would not hearken to the words of the man of Sodom. Verse 19. And the man laid hold of Eliezer, and brought him to Shakra the judge of Sodom for judgment. Verse 20. And the man spoke to the judge, saying, I beseech thee, my lord, thus has this man done. For I smote him with a stone that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my hire. Verse 21. And the judge said to Eliezer, This man speaketh truth to thee, give him his hire, for this is the custom in our land. And Eliezer heard the words of the judge, and he lifted up a stone and smote the judge, and the stone struck on his forehead, and the blood flowed copiously from the forehead of the judge. And Eliezer said, If this then is the custom in your land, give thou unto this man what I should have given him, for this has been thy decision, thou didst decree it. Verse 22. And Eliezer left the man of Sodom with the judge, and he went away. Verse 23. And when the kings of Elam had made war with the kings of Sodom, the kings of Elam captured all the property of Sodom, and they took Lot captive with his property. And when it was told to Abraham, he went and made war with the kings of Elam. and he recovered from their hands all the property of Lot as well as the property of Sodom. Verse 24. At that time the wife of Lot bare him a daughter, and he called her name Paltith, saying, because God had delivered him and his whole household from the kings of Elam. And Paltith daughter of Lot grew up, and one of the men of Sodom took her for a wife. Verse 25. And a poor man came into the city to seek a maintenance, and he remained in the city some days. And all the people of Sodom caused a proclamation of their custom not to give this man a morsel of bread to eat, until he dropped dead upon the earth, and they did so. Verse 26. And Paltith, the daughter of Lot, saw this man lying in the street starved with hunger, and no one would give him anything to keep him alive, and he was just upon the point of death. Verse 27. And her soul was filled with pity on account of the man, and she fed him secretly with bread for many days, and the soul of this man was revived. Verse 28. For when she went forth to fetch water, she would put the bread in the water pitcher, and when she came to the place where the poor man was, she took the bread from the pitcher and gave it him to eat. So she did many days. Verse 29. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah wondered how this man could bear starvation for so many days. Verse 30. And they said to each other, this can only be that he eats and drinks, for no man can bear starvation for so many days or live as this man has, without even his countenance changing. And 3 men concealed themselves in a place where the poor man was stationed, to know who it was that brought him bread to eat. Verse 31. And Paltith daughter of Lot went forth that day to fetch water, and she put bread into her pitcher of water, and she went to draw water by the poor man's place. And she took out the bread from the pitcher and gave it to the poor man, and he ate it. Verse 32. And the 3 men saw what Paltith did to the poor man, and they said to her, it is thou then who hast supported him, and therefore has he not starved, nor changed in appearance, nor died like the rest. Verse 33. And the 3 men went out of the place in which they were concealed, and they seized Paltith and the bread which was in the poor man's hand. Verse 34. And they took Paltith and brought her before their judges, and they said to them, thus did she do, and it is she who supplied the poor man with bread. Therefore did he not die all this time. Now therefore declare to us the punishment due to this woman for having transgressed our law. Verse 35. And the people of Sodom and Gomorrah assembled and kindled a fire in the street of the city, and they took the woman and cast her into the fire, and she was burned to ashes. Verse 36. And in the city of Edmah there was a woman to whom they did the like. Verse 37. For a traveler came into the city of Edmah to abide there all night, with the intention of going home in the morning, and he sat opposite the door of the house of the young woman's father, to remain there, as the sun had set when he had reached that place. And the young woman saw him sitting by the door of the house. Verse 38. And he asked her for a drink of water, and she said to him, who art thou? And he said to her, I was this day going on the road, and reached here when the sun set, so I will abide here all night, and in the morning I will arise early and continue my journey. Verse 39. And the young woman went into the house and fetched the man bread and water to eat and drink. Verse 40. And this affair became known to the people of Edmah, and they assembled and brought the young woman before the judges, that they should judge her for this act. Verse 41. And the judge said, the judgment of death must pass upon this woman because she transgressed our law, and this therefore is the decision concerning her. Verse 42. And the people of those cities assembled and brought out the young woman, and anointed her with honey from head to foot, as the judge had decreed. And they placed her before a swarm of bees which were then in their hives, and the bees flew upon her and stung her that her whole body was swelled. Verse 43. And the young woman cried out on account of the bees, but no one took notice of her or pitied her, and her cries ascended to heaven. Verse 44. And the Lord was provoked at this, and at all the works of the cities of Sodom, for they had abundance of food, and had tranquility amongst them, and still would not sustain the poor and the needy. And in those days their evil doings and sins became great before the Lord. Verse 45. And the Lord sent for 2 of the angels that had come to Abraham's house, to destroy Sodom and its cities. Verse 46. And the angels rose up from the door of Abraham's tent, after they had eaten and drunk, and they reached Sodom in the evening, and Lot was then sitting in the gate of Sodom. And when he saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. Verse 47. And he pressed them greatly and brought them into his house, and he gave them victuals which they ate, and they abode all night in his house. Verse 48. And the angels said to Lot, Arise, go forth from this place, thou and all belonging to thee, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city, for the Lord will destroy this place. Verse 49. And the angels laid hold upon the hand of Lot and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hands of his children, and all belonging to him, and they brought him forth and set him without the cities. Verse 50. And they said to Lot, Escape for thy life, and he fled and all belonging to him. Verse 51. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah, and upon all these cities brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. Verse 52. And he overthrew these cities, all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. And Adu the wife of Lot looked back to see the destruction of the cities, for her compassion was moved on account of her daughters who remained in Sodom, for they did not go with her. Verse 53. And when she looked back, she became a pillar of salt, and it is yet in that place unto this day. Verse 54. And the oxen which stood in that place daily licked up the salt to the extremities of their feet, and in the morning it would spring forth afresh, and they again licked it up unto this day. Verse 55. And Lot and two of his daughters that remained with him fled and escaped to the cave of Adullam, and they remained there for some time. Verse 56. And Abraham rose up early in the morning to see what had been done to the cities of Sodom. And he looked and beheld the smoke of the cities going up like the smoke of a furnace. Verse 57. And Lot and his two daughters remained in the cave, and they made their father drink wine, and they lay with him. For they said there was no man upon earth that could raise up seed from them, for they thought that the whole earth was destroyed. Verse 58. And they both lay with their father, and they conceived and bare sons, and the firstborn called the name of her son Moab, saying, From my father did I conceive him. He is the father of the Moabites unto this day. Verse 59. And the younger also called her son Ben-Ammi. He is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. Verse 60. And after this Lot and his two daughters went away from there, and he dwelt on the other side of the Jordan with his two daughters and their sons. And the sons of Lot grew up, and they went and took themselves wives from the land of Canaan, and they begat children, and they were fruitful and multiplied.